king. It is going to be from Basilisk, the blue Zerg player. In the bottom right-hand side, it is Reynor. Taking on the red Protoss. From Sidestorm, in the upper left-hand corner of the map, it is Gerald. Wasn't that just crazy? Alright guys, welcome to some ZvP. 15 maps of StarCraft 2 coming your way in the form of this OSC King of the Hill. Winner stays on, a new challenger every map. Gerald, the first challenger today. Reynor beat out me on Micah and Bjorn. If that was, we missed that game on Hard Lead last week. That was a lot of fun actually, meching Bjorn in a pretty cool 20-minute game against Reynor. Reynor was victorious. Reynor gets to go into the King mode and he gets to start this week as well. Will he be able to go 50? No, he's the kind of player that might be able to, but he does have to go through his opponents. You get a lot of map picks, etc. So we will see if Reynor can overcome that as we go through today's OSC King of the Hill action. Starting off very standard here in the PvZ with a hatchery going to the third base location. Golden Aura, the map pick of Reynor after one veto from Gerald. Other way around. One veto from Reynor. Gerald then picks Golden Aura. I was going to say that Golden Aura is not my go-to map pick, but I got it wrong in my head. I would imagine Reynor vetoes Raduset, and then he obviously has to just play whichever map Gerald picks, which is Golden Aura here, which I think is not a bad map at all for Protoss. Very defendable set of bases. I think definitely a map we can make a lot happen on. So OV heading to the upper left-hand side. For the next couple of moments, going to be moving into this natural. Cybercore is about to finish up. Our Nexus is about halfway done as well. We do have again a couple of drones, lings, and queens all on the way up also. So a bit of everything continuing to produce for the moment. Our lings and queens on the way up. The ling speed coming out. The drones on the way. Most importantly, we're going to start seeing the tech choice of our Protoss player here, which is going to be the Stargate. So Gerald getting that Stargate down immediately over on the main, so we will see him playing a Stargate style. I'd say not too surprising, but Gerald is the kind of player who will sometimes play into like a Dark Templar opening, right? He's one of these players that still kind of goes into that a lot of the time, so that's definitely one of those things to, again, keep a thought about. As do you have our Adept Continue Shade out down to the bottom right-hand corner. And again, absolutely looking for a chance to just see a bit of what's going on. As the Queen gets there, the Adept will take a couple of shots back and will be pushed over this right-hand side. It is going to shade. It may commit, but it will decide not to. A Queen defensively. Natural. Doesn't have anything on it, so the position of the shade didn't do much. And now we're going to have the double Adept looking to potentially do some damage. As we make our way forward, the two Adepts will shade. Obviously, if these get into a mineral line, they can be quite frustration. As Reynor was talking a bit recently in some videos he made and so on, a bit about how ZvP is a matchup that he's not necessarily fully comfortable in. Not sure if when he plays against Gerald, that's one of the fears he necessarily has. I think it's fair to say that Reynor and Gerald are on slightly different tiers in the European scene. I think Gerald's absolutely good enough to take a map off Reynor, and I'd say with his own map pick being able to kind of come through, then it's a good as chance as any. But it's still going to be a Reynor favored matchup, right? So we'll see if Gerald can cause the upset at any point. You get in 3 drones, not bad at all. Recall the Adepts, they get out alive. Yes, they will. So 2 Adepts get out. The Oracle gets away without too much damage on it. I mean, that's 3 early drones. The earlier the better when it comes to killing workers. There's a single link across this side apparently was nibbling at that pylon. So that's going to be all it was nibbling at. The Adepts get there. They push this back. Forge in the Twilight on the follow-up. This is going to be after 2 Oracles. Are we going to see Oracle 3? It would suggest no, which is a little interesting because usually we do play that triple Oracle setup. So Oracle still heading down to the bottom right, so the 2 together just kind of passing on by. Drones, Spore Crawlers coming up as well. Another Overlord on the way in. And our Queens are going to be here once more. So we're going to get drone number 1, drone number 2. Queens are still going big, and that Oracle still taking some shots of damage. And drones continuing about. The Overlord's on the way. Make it a couple of Overlords as our creep spread starts up as well. Just going to keep all of that on the run. Plus one attack, starting up on the Forge. 2 more probes in production. And we do have our Lings still wandering across to the upper left-hand side of the map. So away they go. Really trying to make their way over here. As we are going to get a little wrap around on that Nexus. Not going to last too long, however. And then we just pull back a little bit. Those Lings moving away. The Oracle continues down to the bottom right. And this Oracle here still trying to grab a couple of extra kills. That's 3 more drones going down. So again, damage being done. It's adding up over time. +1 attack and blink. Temple Archives as well. Bit of everything coming through for the moment. Just see this Oracle still heading bottom left-hand side. Well, there's going to be a single circle on the watchtower. At least you know where that Oracle is. It's good to know where they are, just in case it has an effect on what you want to do or where you want to move to. But I don't think it's going to matter too much here. Your Stalker is going to continue to go after the Overlord, and that Overlord looks as though it is indeed going to fall. Temple Archives is not being hesitated on. You know, we have obviously Blink, the first upgrade off the Twilight. That Temple Archives coming in very quickly, so very ready to make ourselves our way into Archons. You know, potentially Storm as well for the future, although usually when you get Temple Archives that quickly, you kind of think more like, oh yeah, it's going to be Charge and Archon, right? But maybe here we do actually just move our way into Storm, because if you're building Blink, you're going to spend a lot of your gas on Stalkers, so how many Archons do you want to build? Versus if you kind of warp in 2 to 3 High Templar and then get Storm, that's probably going to find much more effect. And especially if you're worried about the Lings because you've got Stalkers to deal with Roaches, then you're probably much more thinking like, yeah, you know, Storm and the Lings coming in, then my Stalkers can survive through any Ling floods, and we should just be okay from there. There's a couple of Oracles all back up the left-hand side, so we do see Gerald's kind of game plan coming together a little bit as Hobbit Kabul on the 3-year resub. Thank you so much, mate. 3 years of resubscribing. Thank you very, very much. Alright, Reynor gets a couple of unit grabs. Blink not done, so the Stalkers will go down. Ling Roach just getting some kills in the center of the map. Okay, the Oracles pop up the Pulsar Beam. They will get a bit of damage done as Tired Universe. Thank you so much for the 21-month resub. Welcome back once again here on the channel. Gerald's a little afraid that Reynor's coming to kill him. Void Ray is not being made for any other reason than like, oh crap, I need to be as safe as possible. As Reynor doesn't actually show up, I wouldn't mind that Void Ray cancelling. Unless he wants to, I guess there's an overseer here, so yeah, he can still use the Void Ray to push things back. So I guess it's not a terrible thing to have. But it is more gas spend that isn't, you know, really part of your main army composition, which is now Blink, Stalker, Storm. I mean, Infestation Pit did finish here, however, Reynor's decided he's going to double down on units, and he may not be wrong. 34 army supply of Gerald. If he dodges the Storm somewhat successfully, he could have a very good time here as these Roaches and Ravagers going to eat a Storm on the way in. A few Roaches get by and try and target down at High Templar, however, it doesn't happen because the battery keeps it alive. Now a few more Roaches, though. This time we will get rid of the next few Storms available, and this is going to be the challenge. There's only a few Stalkers left. The Archon does not get to come online. The cannon battery go down in a combo set of vials, and Reynor pushes in towards this upper base. Roach Ravager going to town on the Stalkers out of here. We do see the Void Ray and pop Prismatic Alignment. There's Queens in the background currently fighting an Oracle. They will turn onto the Void Ray after. One Queen on creep means we can transfuse at least if we want to heal, save that hurt Queen in the front. As more Corrosive Vials come through, most importantly, your Ling reinforcements getting up in front of these Stalkers. Probes going down during all of this. I feel like we're not far away from a hold as Gerald, but it's going to come at a pretty hefty cost. So yeah, Roach Ravager still firing through. Our Stalker's still getting whacked away at. And again, 16 probes going down. The Stalkers continue to escape out over the right-hand side. These Zealots don't have charge, by the way, so the fact that they want to try and get away now is kind of painful. So that's going to suck just a little bit. We do have our Queens, our Roaches continue to fight. We go back and forth on either side. I mean, Reynor is not quite broken through yet, and the more Stalkers that come up, the better this could potentially be for Gerald. Like I say, I feel like he's not far away from a hold. The question would be, how much of a hold is it? You know, how much trouble is he in after? Stalker's going to fire up. More Zealots warping in. Just going to have that Lurker Den on the transition. So we have got Lurker Den. Did mention, right, the Infestation Pit was up. So that transition option was there from Reynor as he is held off here. He is going to be pushed back down into the middle of the map. And Gerald is going to get himself a defense. Now, for all the damage taken, Gerald's only, well, he's actually a worker ahead for a moment. He just lost the worker lead, but his worker count is absolutely fine because he had a lot of workers going in. And Reynor never really found that kind of punishing blow during all of this. See our rest of our Lings coming up the top. A few Stalkers blinking around. Going to try and make sure we hold off and defend as best as possible. Roach Ravager on the left side, just going to pop a gateway down as well. A couple more bars coming through. Well, settle, but the problem is things are settling in an okay position, I think, for Reynor still, because despite having been the aggressor, he's now got the Lurkers coming through. Couple of High Templar pulling back, the rest of the Roach Ravager moving around the center. Lynx will move into the center as well, just holding out and chilling next to this set of rocks. The Roach is coming over as well. Zealots, Stalkers, Templars moving around. We do have our Lurkers, Ravagers, and Hydras back over to the left. Just gonna see a couple of those Zealots already being chased away. Damage being done against Seismic Spines is on the way up, with the Adrenal Glands on the follow-up as well. Stargate and Fleet Beacon also in production. Just a couple drones. I mean, Reynor is still set up across 5 bases right now. Set up across 5 bases. Our Lurkers, Lings, and Ravagers still set up as well. And the rest of these Stalkers and High Templars gathering up. Going to knock down a couple of different creep tumors here. Getting a lot of this creep picked away at for the moment. Roaches. We'll just take down these couple of different Zealots, so we knock those down straight away. I mean, Reynor maxed out, like I say, he's kind of on, I don't say the dream army per se, but he's in a good place for this time into the game. What is interesting is always going to be the carrier timing. Do we get these carriers up in good enough numbers to survive? You know, 6 carriers against this army that Reynor has is incredible. 2, not so much, and obviously you've got to go through 2 to get any higher, and they take a long time to build, as these Lurkers can now take the position of this map into its advantage, which is, well, that this base setup with the ramps and choke points are now going to really favor the aggressor with Lurkers in position. The problem is you kind of need to stop the Lurkers getting here in the first place. That's way more easily said than done. And the storm comes down. We have got some high energy Templars still, but this left side base is dying. If Lings transfer, if probes transfer up here, we do have Lings nearby, although Zealot Archon may catch those Lings without issue, so Reynor may not be able to make the most of those. He sees the units, he'll pull them back though, playing quickly for the moment. Here are the carriers. Spire's on the way, and I think we're going to have the Spire in plenty of time to get Corruptors up to deal with the carriers as well. So don't think that that is going to be too much of a problem. As they do drop a couple of transfusions off, Lurker's getting brought back up to health. If you move forward still, these Stalkers and Immortals still trying to move on in, as the Lurkers are going to sit there and just going to keep these Stalkers at bay. Spire coming up back of the main. And again, our Roaches up the left-hand side, just gonna go past and nibbling at this Nexus right now. So Nexus will fall. The Lurkers are gonna be able to push away the Zealots and the Archons. More of these Lings coming back over this upper right-hand side. Just gonna be seeing those few Zealots coming up. Plus 3 missiles, plus 1 Carapace continue to come through. We do have the muscular augments coming about as well. The Observer of Gerald is about to come through also, as Ling Lurker continues around the top side, ready to run into that base. Hydras and Ravagers going to set up as well. We are going to see the Nexus ending up getting dropped. Well, these Lurkers holding out for a little bit. I like that, just to pull back on the 2 of them, the other 2 coming back in. We are going to see the Pylon, the Super Battery continuing to get into action as well, really trying to make something more of this for the moment. Corruptors and Vipers continue to come in. Again, the Carrier and the +2 air weapons is on the way up. The Tempest on the way in, and also still just seeing our army of Gerald continuing to gather together. Reynor maxed out, starting to build up a big bank. He's already got 1 Spire up. He's building a second, so he can really double down on Spire-based upgrades. Get those Corruptors to be as good as possible. Lurker's Burrow. And Zealot Archon is already going to pull back a little bit. Rest of these Hydras pushing through. We are going to see more Lurkers burrowing up. A lot of those Zealots continue to go down. Archon will fall here. Rest of these Zealots taking some shots. We are going to see more carriers. This army on the right side will go down. Can Reynor do anything anywhere else in the meantime to make this, you know, an okay kind of situation? He's going to burrow these Lurkers up, and those probes on the left may be stranded now until rescue comes for them. Ultra Cavern on the way through as well. Reynor definitely thinking about how his approach in these later stages is going to turn. You know, if he can get up to a few Ultras, they might just be sturdy enough to run underneath the carriers for a while and then actually get through to deal some damage. That said, there's still a couple of Immortals around, as you know, this army actually starting to move onto creep That's a danger for Gerald as well. This is all on creeping. That's a beautiful first abduct. We're going to get rid of a carrier. Not quickly because we don't have that many corruptors, but there's still going to be the carrier kill, so that's going to be a big grab. Move down to this bottom left. Still Stalkers, Immortals, carriers, High Templar, a bit of everything joining together. And pull back up the left-hand side. Our Ultras all on the way. 8 of them on the way up at the moment, in fact. As a few Stalkers continue to blink about as well. Creep Tumors coming up. Spinecrawler on the way in. And so many Ultras coming by right now as the Chitinous Plating comes up about halfway done. +2 melee is on the way. And a couple of extra carriers going to come join up with everything else as well. Viper goes back over to the right. Our Ultra's still sitting out underneath, and the Stalker's going to blink in to get rid of a few Creep Tumors as well. We have those abducts off. There's going to be a couple more carriers going down. This is a big deal because these Ultras are making a charge forward. They don't really care so much about those storms. The carrier's not getting a chance to fight during this, and of course we're looking for more abducts beyond this as well. These Immortals are meant to chunk through these Ultras, but they've not been able to stand still and fight, so Immortal's not properly protected, and it's showing, as Reynor does get rid of one more carrier. Stalker's also decent against the Ultras as we blink forward and we look for the pickup on them. And Viper just about able to skirt away for the moment, able to get out of there alive. 2 melee upgrades continuing through. The +1 flyer attack is coming in as well. Stalker's getting underneath and they're going to pick off an Overlord. Okay, gets a Stalker in the front, now going for others. Again, the damage continues to come through the group of all of this. As Reynor still maintains the bank advantage, he's manning out this gold base bottom left, he's got the right side base up. Gerald's never really seen anything beyond these 5 bases, and that's going to be a problem. Getting out to the next base, maybe this base is somewhat attainable, just moving down the ramp and, having to defend from 2 more angles, but it's still fairly defendable. Moving over here, that seems rather impossible right now. That seems like a mile away, somewhere that I don't think Gerald is going to find very easily over the course of the next few minutes at least. So, Reynor, in that regard, looking good, right? Able to hold out in terms of, hey, this is Golden Ore, this is a big map. If I can just limit you to 5 bases, eventually I will drain you of resources if I keep taking the fights I've been taking. Resources lost is not terrible for Reynor. 4,000 worse off is, in fact, 4,000 more efficient from Reynor. So yeah, absolutely take the fights he's been taking and Gerald will be taken down. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was the other way around a little bit, but it goes to show just how much Gerald has been losing. Some Ultras are going to find the chance to chase the High Templars down. My mouse gave up on me for a second there as we are going to go chomping through. At least 2 of the High Templar died. The others just about get away as the Stalkers play the body blocking game. Man, those High Templar were having their butts chomped at by Ultralisks, and they just about got out alive. We call a few Stalkers back as we do have Lings wrapping around. Super Battery goes down, Cannon as well. These Ultras will continue to go to town on the Zealots. The Void Ray continue to activate too. The couple of Archons coming across. Just continue to get picked away at here. 5 probes, 6 probes going down. And Lurker's still putting work in here as 9 workers now in total have fallen. I move that up to 10, and these Lurkers still fighting. Another Nexus in trouble. It looks as though this will indeed go down also, so this Nexus also dropping. On the right hand side, those Lings are going to try and run in. They get themselves an Archon. That's a nice grab. Archon is almost always a big positive. I'm just going to see our Zealots still coming through. A few more Lings getting picked away at. 14 probes have been killed. Again, I think from Reynor's point of view, as he sees this base coming up, it's just a game of keeping the bases away from his opponent and having enough to take the final fight, which I honestly think he's in an okay position for. My biggest concern maybe is that there's actually less air units here than there has been, and there's still quite a few Corruptors up, so it'll be interesting to see how he trades out those Corruptors to try and make something a little different happen in that regard. Once again up there, that Nexus continues to build. We see a few Lings on this left-hand side. Going to come running through too. We're going to end up grabbing that Zealot and now working our way onto the Cybercore. Additional Zealots coming up. Going to get a wrap around here. The Stalkers will drop. Lings to the upper right. And actually just continue with these lings onto the robo facility as well. It's just going to make that grab straight away as these top right lings will start to drop to the Stalker Archon force. So a lot of lings going down. Also do have more lings on the top side. Just going to go in after this Templar Archives, look to clean this up, clean that out, and be done with this position. We actually kill the Temple Archives. Oh, we get it with the last link connection. It's honestly kind of nice just removing Archons from being rebuilt as easily, right? Because now you can't build more High Temple than you've got unless you rebuild the Temple Archives. But Gerald, again, is somewhat, strapped for cash. He's not the richest guy in the world at the moment. Not the richest. Stalkers blowing through. We do have Lurkers on this right-hand side. Good fungal growth. Going to land on the Stalkers. That means they can't get away. We refresh that fungal as the Ultras first charge through. We abduct one of the carries. There's 3 carries in total in the skies. A couple of Void Rays putting in work. 5 new Ultras in production, but boy, do we need those to really come to life right now. Good storms. The Corruptor's not getting a chance to actually stand and fight right now. Finally, we get the abduct that we've been looking for. There's still an Ultra on the ground. The Lurkers, I tell you what, have been doing a lot of work as well, just fighting from this side unseen by his opponent, and I think that's going to be a big part of why he's winning this fight so convincingly, as Reynor looks as though he will be getting the cleanup here eventually, because with reinforcements there's no way that Gerald is going to continue to break through, and if Reynor can knock down this army, that top right base is going to be the next target of his. Absolutely no doubt in my mind, because then obviously you just knock down that base and Gerald really cannot keep on affording any sort of a rebuild. Reynor will lose 1 base in the process. Honestly, he might be able to go and get this base over here as well, right? As you see that carrier. We call him back. Couple more storms coming through. Like I said, reinforcements should make this a difficult getaway. And we do have Ling's going to try and slow down the escape as well. Ultras will catch a couple of morphing Archons. Still moving up. There's a couple of Archons. Just going to go down. The rest of our Stalker's going to get grabbed. Corruptor's going to caustic spray down the Nexus, and again, it looks as though this base will fall. And like I said, as long as this base goes down, I think Reynor is okay. He might lose bottom left, but it's pretty much mined out already. He's been there for so long. I mean, Gerald is losing every probe he has. He's absolutely broke, and he has to type out GG as Reynor takes game 1 of today's OSC King of the Hill in 23 minutes on Golden Aura, taking out Gerald.